how do they get away with smashing to smithereens hard drives? How do they get away with deleting subpoenaed emails, 33,000? How do they get away with acid wash bleach pit? How do they get away with hammers? Do you ever take a hammer to a BlackBerry or an iPhone? How do you get away with sending the FBI devices without SIM cards? Why do I think I would spend eternity in jail and you would have to bring me a cake with a file?
Well, they don't have officials at their Justice Departments who rush to recuse themselves, number one. Everyone knows I love Jeff Sessions, but that, I understand why Donald Trump is not happy about that, because that did set off a chain of reactions that really ended up creating this whole special counsel nightmare for Trump in the first place. Republicans play the safe, gentlemanly game of politics, and I keep saying this. They agree with the Democrats on a lot of these key issues.
They lied to voters in 2010, 2014, and 2016.
Well, yeah, and they don't like the fact that Donald Trump called them out for doing that in 2016. Remember, Sean, you pointed this out numerous times. Donald Trump won without the consultants that all of these candidates hire election after election. People who are now talking about talk radio and Fox News is a problem. They're all consultants who Trump never needed. He went on his own political instinct, which is 95% excellent, his own wit, wisdom, and pragmatism, and tweeting and social media. He used all of it to battle them basically by himself, with a few of us who supported him, and he won.
He crushed them. He won,
and he crushed them, and they never got over it. And the day after the election, they began plotting what they hoped would be his demise.
If I were black and in Congress and I were a legislator, I would take umbrage that she said she was a master legislator. So that was because here she is, again, reading her resume. Here's what I've done. Look, that party is in triage. And for them not to recognize it, we understood it with Barack Obama, to your point, Harris, 1,080 losses of seats. And now the Papa John's messaging that not resonating at all.
Nancy Pelosi has got to be the greatest gift for Republicans. If you're a Republican and you're wanting to do well in the midterms, you should hope that she stays in that position as long as possible. Also, Chuck Schumer. She's a big part of the problem because, as you guys have mentioned, so much of it is about herself and why she needs to be there. There's such a disconnect between what the Democratic Party actually needs right now.
So, Kevin, tell us about why the NAACP is issuing this travel advisory for minorities thinking about visiting the Show Me State.
Well, this came out while I was in New York, so as you guys can imagine, I'm afraid to go home. Because of the travel advisory. It's insane. So the state wanted to get caught up with the federal laws with respect to discrimination in this regard. And the pendulum, as we know in America, has swung so far in this regard that the governor decided and the legislature decided, you know what, we can't just let frivolous lawsuits occur. Ferguson's a perfect example of where that happened, where supposedly there was this egregious things happening to blacks in traffic stops. A town that's 68% black miraculously has a lot of blacks being stopped for traffic stops, right? And ironically, there were 9 other municipalities that have higher populations of blacks that were more egregious than Ferguson.
Arizona Senator Jeff Flake is up for re-election in 2018, so the Flake decided writing an anti-Trump book now would be a good campaign decision. Listen, Senator, I've been traveling the country for the swamp. When you get outside of D.C., New York, and L.A., the real people, real Americans, love President Trump. So let's talk politics for a minute, Senator. Candidate Trump won the Arizona GOP primary with 47% of the vote. That was more than double his closest competitors, Ted Cruz and John Kasich. And now the Dow is 22,000. A record 153 million Americans are employed. Neil Gorsuch is on the high court. And illegal immigration is falling like a rock. Tough to run against that, Senator. But watch out, Senator Flake. You might find a good, strong conservative in your rearview mirror coming up on you hot. P.S. Is it just a coincidence that you were born in Snowflake, Arizona? Now, Lindsay's been a front and center anti-Trumper. Aside from pushing back on almost every Trump policy initiative, Lindsey Graham, a quote-unquote Republican, has been calling for more investigations of President Trump and Russia, even when most Americans are frankly sick of the Russia fake news story. Yet Lindsey seeks out the television cameras and smiles as he delivers his brand of anti-Trump venom. Hey, Lindsey, I just got back from South Carolina. You know what they love in South Carolina? Barbecue and Donald Trump. Now, Lindsey Graham's up in 2020, South Carolina, so stay tuned. This morning, this monologue was going to be about Republican senators getting behind Donald Trump. But I realized they just can't. Their egos are far too bloated to admit the president is succeeding. So now I'm thinking the party will be better without you.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
I shall call him Mini-Me.
But I love the president, and I'm very, very loyal to the president. And I love the mission that the president has. I love the president. I obviously love the country. I love the president. And the president is a very, very effective communicator. The president has really good karma, okay? The president himself is always going to be the president.
Breaking up is hard to do.
White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci is now out of that position just over a week into the job.
Right, okay, people, you have to tell me these things, okay? Throw me a frickin' bone here. I'm the boss. Need the info.
From what I understand, and all the reports are, the president did not want you to go. Tell us what happened.
He didn't. He's been very gracious throughout this process. I thanked him for the opportunity.
Welcome back. Your dreams.
Before we begin, I know that myself and the press have gotten off to a rocky start. All right. Now I'd like to begin today by apologizing on behalf of you to me for how you have treated me these last 2 weeks. And that apology is not accepted. Because I'm not here to be your buddy. That's all, folks.
What do you know from funny, you